हरि ओम गुरुजी।
नमस्ते। ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम। Namaste once again, everyone. So,
नमस्ते गुरुजी। हरि
Namaste.
ओम।
Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram. So,
Harihi Om Guruji.
Hari Om. We were seeing the 35th shloka. We will chant Brihat Sama Tatha Samnam.
Samathasanam.
What happened? I hope everybody is unmuted. Let me check.
Yes, Guruji.
Yeah, everybody except for Jai Shri and Krishnanji. So you can all unmute. We will chant this the sloka. Brihat Sama Tatha Samnam.
बृहत्
Brihat
साप्तः
Samathasanam.
Gayatri Chandasamaham.
गायत्री
Gayatri
छन्दसामहम्
Chandasataham.
Masanam Margashirshoham.
मासानां
Masanam
मार्गशीर्षोऽहम्
Shishomnam.
Rutunam Kusumakaraha.
ऋतूनां
Rutunam
कुसुमाकरः।
Makaraha.
Okay, you can now mute yourself. So, enumerating the glories of the Lord, Krishna says in this 35th verse, Aham Brihat Sama, I am Brihat Sama mantra, among the Sama mantras. And among the Vedic meters and Vedic mantras in general, I am Gayatri meter and also Gayatri mantra. So the Gayatri meter is a type of meter in which 3 lines are there. And in each line, 8 letters are there. So Ashtakshara Tripada Gayatri. 3 padams means 3 lines. and 8 letters in each line. That is called Gayatri meter. And when we refer to the Gayatri mantra, it is a very popular mantra and also a very powerful mantra. In fact, there is a book which deals only with Gayatri mantra, and it is called Gayatri Mahima. And this Gayatri Mahima, is very elaborately discussed in the scriptures. The main glory of Gayatri is that it is supposed to be the Veda Sara. Brahmaji wanted to take the essence of the Veda because he knew that in the coming times, especially in Kali Yuga, people will not have time to chant the whole Veda. And therefore, what did he do? In fact, there is a beautiful sloka to explain that. It says, Tisra evatu vedebhyah padam padam aduduhat dhadi trichosya gayatriyah parameshti prajapati. So parameshti prajapati means Brahmaji. So he took the 3 main Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda and Sama Veda. Because these 3 Vedas are considered to be the main ones because they are predominantly used in ritual. Atharvana Veda is not very much used in rituals and therefore they do not include it in the 3 Vedas. And what did Brahmaji do? He wanted to take out the essence, the Sara of the Vedas, because Vedas were voluminous. Therefore, he wanted to milk the essence of each of the Vedas. So he took as though a mixer grinder, first he put the Rig Veda, crushed it, and then the thick liquid it was there, he strained it in a fine piece of cloth, like the muslin cloth or something, I mean, olden times, people used to make this cottage cheese at home. So they used to do that, curdle the milk and all that. And my mother used to do it, I remember. Then she will take one very soft piece of cloth, which is little porous, and then she will put that inside and then tie that cloth and all that, and so that all the water and all is drained off. So like that Brahmaji did. So first he got the Rig Veda Saraha, which is what? In Gayatri Mantra, Tat Savitur Varenyam, the first line of Gayatri Mantra. Then he repeated the process with the Yajur Veda and extracted the Saraha, which was the second line, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Similarly, he extracted the Samaveda Saraha and got the third line, Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Now, what is the mixer grinder he used for this extraction? That mixer grinder is nothing but tapas. He performed the tapas for taking out the essence, and then he got the full Gayatri mantra, which is in Gayatri meter, as I said, consisting of 3 lines with 8 letters in each line, and in all consisting of 24 letters. Therefore, this verse says, Tisra evatu vedebhya padam padam aduduhat. Aduduhat means milked or extracted. Padam padam means one pada of Gayatri. Pada means a line. So from the 3 Vedas, he got the 3 lines of the mantra. In fact, originally, this Gayatri mantra was called Savitri mantra. Even now, many times, it is referred to as Savitri mantra only. And it is so called as Savitri mantra because the presiding deity is Surya Bhagavan. And in Sanskrit, Surya is called Savita Devata. And that is why we say Savitri Rishihi Vishwamitra Nishrit Gayatri Chanda Savita Devata. While before chanting the Gayatri mantra during the Sankalpam and also Nyasam. So since Savita, the sun is the Devata, it is called Savitri mantra. And since the mantra is set in Gayatri meter, it is also called Gayatri mantra. But generally, there are so many Gayatri mantras. Means mantras which are set to Gayatri meter. But popularly when we say Gayatri mantra, we refer to this only. Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. That is the mantra we refer to. But we must not think that this is the only mantra which is in Gayatri meter. There are many mantras in the Vedas which are set to Gayatri meter. So from the standpoint of meter, it is called Gayatri mantra. From the standpoint of the Devata worshipped, it is called Savitri mantra. And at the time of Upanayanam ceremony, the brahmachari prostrates in front of his father, who is supposed to be his guru. That's all olden times. The father was the guru because he knew the Vedas. So he could pass on that knowledge to his son. Of course, these days, father himself doesn't know anything. So that is why we get all the priests and all that and tell, oh, this is the guru, like that, because priest is well versed in the Vedas. So this brahmachari, he will prostrate before the guru and say, Savitrim bho anubruhi. So there, the word Savitri means Gayatri mantra. So since Gayatri is the essence of the Vedas, Gayatri is called the Veda itself. Gayatri is considered to be the representative of the entire Veda. And that is why when Veda Upadesha is done, they do actually Gayatri Upadesha at the time of the Upanayanam. And Veda is otherwise also called, there's another name for Veda, is called Brahma. And that therefore Gayatri Upadesha is called Brahmopadesha. That's why, even now, when they have the sacred thread ceremony, they write in the invitation card, Brahmopadesham. So Brahmopadesham is equal to Veda Upadesham. Vedopadesham is equal to Gayatri Upadesham. And not only that, in Chandogya Upanishad, Gayatri is itself presented for meditation as Brahman. So, not only Gayatri is considered to be a Veda, but Gayatri is considered to be Param Brahma itself. Because such a Upasana is prescribed in Chandogya Upanishad and it is analyzed in Brahma Sutra also. In short, Gayatri is a very, very sacred and it occurs in Rig Veda originally. Then it occurs in Yajurveda also. It occurs even in Samaveda. So in all three Vedas, Gayatri mantra occurs. And why are we meditating or worshipping? What do we get out of it? Now, this is a question, these days everybody will ask, okay, I will do it, what will I get? Yaha dhiyah prachodayat. Because this mantra, when you chant, when you actually meditate on this mantra, if it activates the effulgence the effulgence of the mantra, it activates our intelligence. Dhiya means buddhi. Therefore, I worship the solar effulgence because it is supposed to activate my brain. Medha Shakti increases, memory power increases. And that is why brahmacharis, the students, students mean all students, including all of us. Gayatri was emphasized because it gives every student memory power. Therefore, Gayatri activates the Buddhi Shakti. Now, what is the essence of this Shrauta Gayatri mantra? The meaning is very simple. But then, when we take the Gayatri mantra and try to understand the meaning, we have to do a little bit of Anvaya of the mantra to decipher the meaning. So, Savitu Devasya Tatvarenyam Bhargaha Vayam Dhimahi. That's a sentence. Vayam Dhimahi. We are meditating upon Tatvarenyam Bhargaha, that glorious effulgence. Bhargaha means effulgence. Varenyam, Varenyam means glorious, sacred. Sacred is actually a better meaning. Sacred effulgence. Of whom? Savitu Devasya, of the sun god. So we are meditating upon the sacred effulgence of the sun god. And if you are doing Gayatri Japa daily, you can say that daily you are chanting the entire Veda. Because Gayatri is the essence. During Sandhya Vandanam, we chant Ayatu Varada Devi Aksharam Brahma Samhitam. So Brahma Samhitam means Veda Tulyam. Brahma means, as I told you, means Veda. So Brahma Samhitam means equal to Veda, Veda Tulyam. And therefore Gayatri Parayanam is equal to not one Veda Parayanam, but 3 Veda Parayanams. Similarly, there are, in fact, our scriptures are so beautiful. For Sundara Kandam in Valmiki Ramayana, essence of Sundara Kandam is captured in 9 shlokas. Because Sundara Kanda Parayanam takes a lot of time, number of days, there are different permutations, combinations. You can chant for 9 days continuously, or 16 days, 32 days, like that, and all. 1 avartanam, 2 avartanam, all those things are there. But if you want to, you do Sundarakanda Parayanam every day, there is a set of 9 shlokas, which will hardly take you 2-3 minutes. You learn that and chant that, it will have the effect of your daily chanting Sundarakanda. So similarly, if you chant Gayatri mantra every day, it is supposed to be, or it is equal to the Veda Parayanam of all 3 Vedas. And by that chanting this Gayatri mantra, this person is protected from all the papas. And that is why it is said, Gayatri Gayantam Trayate iti Gayatrihi. Gayantam means whoever chants. Trayate means protector. Gayatri means Gayatri Devata, the Surya Devata, which serves as a kavacham, a shield, which protects the people from evil forces of papa, shields from the invisible negative forces. And this protecting armor is invisible because the negative forces are also invisible. So this invisible armor is generated by Gayatri. So now there is a standard question everybody asks. Very common question, and which is a genuine question also. He says, if that be the case, then why all the people are not allowed to chant Gayatri? If Gayatri is so great, then how come many people are not allowed to chant? Because this question comes, especially ladies and all, it said women should not chant Gayatri and all. And this question comes because of ignorance of the scheme of our Vedas. We have to note that there are two types of Gayatri: Shrauta Gayatri and Smarta Gayatri. Shrauta Gayatri appears in the Vedas, primary scriptures. Smarta Gayatri occurs in the Smritis, the secondary scriptures. Shrauta Gayatri can be chanted by anyone who has been initiated into the Upanayana ceremony, for whom formally Vedarambam has been begun, commenced. And that is signified by the Upanayanam ceremony. And therefore, if a person has not been initiated, male or female, he or she can also chant Gayatri, but for them, the prescribed Gayatri is Smarta Gayatri. Now, what is this Smarta Gayatri? As we saw, Shrauta Gayatri is Tatsavirvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimhi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. In fact, it starts with Om Bhur but that is not part of Gayatri. It is called Vyahriti Mantra. Gayatri Mantra begins from Tat Savitur Varenyam, only 3 lines. But for the purposes of Japa, Om Bhur is added. So this is Shrauta Gayatri. And what is Smarta Gayatri? People who chant, who do Sandhya Vandanam will know what is Smarta Gayatri. Smarta Gayatri mantra is Yo Devas Savita Smakam Dhiyo Dharmadikocharaha Prerayetasya Yadbhargat Tatvarenyam Upasmahe. Just before you start chanting the Gayatri mantra, this mantra is chanted. Sandhya Vandanam, all Sandhya, Trikala Sandhya is chanted. In fact, I would seriously advise all of you to write this down. And all of you can do this Gayatri Japa if you are unable to do Sandhya Vandanam for whatever reason. Even if you cannot chant Shrauta Gayatri for whatever reason, this Gayatri, Smarta Gayatri, can be chanted every day. And it will give the same power. The essence remains identical to Shrauta Gayatri only. A prayer to the sun god to illuminate and guide our intellect. So effect will be same. And therefore, I would urge, because this Gayatri Japa mantra, from a Vedantic point of view, is one of the sadhanas for Chitta Shuddhi. That is why it is prescribed in Chandogya Upanishad. In fact, Chandogya Upanishad, the first 5 chapters, so many upasanas are prescribed. What is the purpose? Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Naishchalya. Meditation for a mumukshu serves only these 2 purposes: Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Naishchalya. So now I said Gayatri protects us from papam. We need to understand the statement properly. First of all, our papam, punyam and all, we bring it from past births. Isn't it? It is carry forward. So first thing we need to understand is chanting of Gayatri mantra, it will not remove the past papam. It cannot change the prarabdha. But it will protect us from agami papam. How? By chanting the mantra, by meditating on the mantra, as I said, we will get Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Naishchalya. Our mind will be tuned to Dharma, and the mind will be weaned away from adharmic thoughts and consequent adharmic actions. So thus we will be protected from future papa. And as even we exhaust the prarabdha papam, the debit balance in our Sanchita account will get reduced. And because of increased punyam in the agami, the credit balance will continuously go up. And one more point I would like to make. That is, while for Shrauta Gayatri Japa, one has to go through the purificatory rite of Upanayanam, for Smarta Gayatri Parayanam also, one must purify the Stula Shariram with bath. One should not just, because the more you purify your physical body, the more your mind will get pure. So, purification of Stula Shariram first is essential. And secondly, the purification of the Antakaranam also is essential. The mind also needs to be purified. And what is the sadhana for that? In fact, in yoga, in Ashtanga Yoga, the sadhana of pranayama is prescribed. Simple pranayama, anulom vilom pranayama a few times. Even for Shrauta Gayatri Japa, before you start the japa, this is prescribed. Pranayamam is prescribed 10 times pranayama. So when you do the pranayamam, the mind settles down. It starts focusing. So when you do the pranayamam, remove the thoughts from the mind and focus the mind on the breath going in and going out. When you do that, your mind automatically tends to concentrate, focus on that, something. Then when you start chanting the Gayatri, then the mind automatically will absorb that mantra. Then it will keep on repeating that mantra. So both Antakarana Shuddhi and Bahya Shuddhi is essential for chanting Smarta Gayatri also. So this is, and in fact, there is, in our tradition, it says, without chanting the Gayatri, whatever other mantras you chant, they will not be that effective. On the other hand, if somebody chants Gayatri and then no other mantra is required at all, and that is why they say, you can reduce all your karmas, because as a grihastha, one must have been doing so many karmas. But all naimittika karma you can reduce, completely do away with. And till you actually are in grihastha nitya karma you must continue to perform. And nitya karma is what? Mainly sadhya vandana, trikala sandhya vandana. Most people these days, they have stopped. They don't do madhyanikam because there's no time, never done it in life. Because office and all that, how can you do this madhyanikam and all that? That is the reason they give. But we must note one very important point. Madhyanikam is a very, very important nitya karma. Because number one, Madhyanikam contains the maximum number of prayers. because there's, yad yaduchistam yad abojyam yadva dushkritam mama sarve punantu mamapaha. So you take a water here and you are praying that whatever things I have eaten or I should not have eaten, which I have eaten. Uchishtam means I have eaten, stale stuff. And also whatever I have actually misbehaved, caused hurt to people, all that, let this water purify. And then we take that water. So these are all very effective prayashchitta mantras. Then that the Madhyanam only we chant. Jivema Sharadashatam, Nandama Sharadashatam, Modama Sharadashatam. And not only for us, it is a mantra we are chanting for everybody. Let my family, my relatives, my friends, everybody live to be 100 years. So, Madhyanam is a very, very important Nitya Karma which people should perform. And not only that, if you see Upanayanam ceremony, when it takes place, the first karma that boy, that brahmachari performs is Madhyanam. Then Sayam Sandhya, then only next day morning he will do Pratah Sandhya. So in that order also, Madhyanam is a primary karma. One needs to perform this Madhyanam. So once you are chanting this Gayatri mantra 3 times a day, then you don't need any other mantra at all, any other puja at all. That is the Gayatri Mahima. And all these are all very much elaborated in various Shastras. And therefore Krishna says, I am Gayatri. And since we are on the subject, I will give you little more details. Because those who do Sandhya Vandanam, before doing the Gayatri Japa, they will do Gayatri Avahanam. And in that they will say Nichrit Gayatri Chandaha. Now what is this Nichrit Gayatri Chandaha? Because literally the word Nichrit means defective. But defective does not mean invalid. So what is the defect? As I said, the Gayatri mantra has got 3 lines with 24 letters, 8 letters in each line. So in the line, if you chant Tat Savitur Varenyam, that is Vare and Niyam saying separately, Tat Savitur Varenyam, Vare after that pause and then Niyam, it will be 24 letters. However, if you chant Varenyam as one word, then it will have 23 letters. So in the Gayatri Japa, when we do in the Sandhya Vandanam, the word Varenyam is to be chanted as one word, not as Varenyam. And that is why, we have to chant it with Pancha Vasanas. 5 pauses. So Om Bhurbhuvasva 1 pause. Tatsavitur Varenyam 1 pause. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi 1 pause. Diyo Yona Prachodayat 1 pause. So Panchavasana Gayatri is there. So there Varenyam is a single word. And that makes it 23 letter Gayatri. And that 23 letter Gayatri is called Nichrit Gayatri. So these are all rules set in the scriptures. Anyway, these are all, as I say, what they call tidbits or whatever it is, for those who are interested. Essence is Krishna says, I am that great, glorious Gayatri, which is got so much in it. Then he says, Masanam Mrigashirshoham. Among the 12 months of a year, I am Margashirsha month, which is the month, just before this, December 15th to January 15th. In fact, in most parts of India, except for perhaps North India, in the rest of India, during this month, the temperature is relatively tolerable. In fact, it is a welcome respite from hot summer weather. The December month, and also you can say a couple of preceding and succeeding months, are peak tourist season in India. And this month is also famous for music festival in Chennai, and also pilgrimage to Sabarimala temple in Kerala. So from a religious point of view, Margashirsha month is supposed to be a sacred month. And that's why, many religious rituals take place during this month. And normally when it is cold, it is difficult to wake up in the morning. And even if you wake up, you do not feel like getting out of the cozy warmth of the bed. People who have lived in Delhi know this. And therefore, in order to overcome this tamoguna inclination, one is advised to forcibly get out of the bed, finish the morning ablutions, take bath, and then join a group of people who go around the street singing bhajans and devotional songs. And this discipline is emphasized to overcome the tamoguna and activate the rajoguna and sattva-guna. And all these are important from a religious and spiritual point of view. That's why, you will find, especially in South India, early morning, 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, groups of people will go around the street singing bhajans. And that sound itself, hearing that sound, many other people who are still sleeping may even wake up. So these are all, spiritual, and they got a very good religious and spiritual significance. And according to some commentators, Krishna chooses this month because this is the month when the earth is rich with various grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. In fact, you can even experience it. Maximum number of all green vegetables and all you will get during winter months only. Summer months, very few vegetables, especially you go to Delhi and all that, very difficult to get good vegetables. Of course, these days and all these frozen stuff and all, they keep it in and then bring it out and then sell it. But fresh vegetables, very difficult. Because what happens, after the rainy season, earth becomes ready for sowing the seeds. And lot of grains can be harvested at that time. In fact, in South India, this is the harvest time. January, beginning of January, end of December, beginning of January. That's why this Pongal festival is there. On 15th of January, what is that? It signifies the harvest festival. So Margashirsha is a very prosperous month, you can say. Lot of grains, lot of vegetables, fruits, fresh ones. And there is another significance of this month which ends in Makara Shankramanam, beginning of Uttarayana. And there are some other commentators who point out that because that is considered to be the dawn of the early morning of the Devas. For the Devas or Devatas, our 1 year is equal to 1 day. Because their time scale is different. And Deva's day is supposed to begin from Sankramana day, which is almost celebrated in all parts of India in different names. So just before the beginning of the day, the time is called Brahma Muhurta, Sattvic time, early morning. between 4:30 and 6 a.m. That is considered to be Brahma Muhurta. And in fact, every brahmachari is advised. Grihastha also has to do it. Get up before Brahma Muhurta, finish your bath, and during Brahma Muhurta, do Sandhya Vandanam. Or at least get up during Brahma Muhurta, 4:30 you get up. And then finish everything in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then do Sandhya Vandanam. Supposed to be very, very auspicious and very effective. And therefore, if Deva's day begins with January 15th, which is the Uttarayanam, beginning of Uttarayanam, just before 15th of January, the duration must be Brahma Muhurta for the Devatas. And therefore, that month is considered to be very good for all types of spiritual sadhanas and all types of religious practices. And because of that reason also, Krishna chooses Margashirsha month as one of his glories. Then he says, Rutunam Kusumakaraha. So in our tradition, 1 year is divided into 6 seasons. In Sanskrit, it is called Ritus. Ritu means a season. So the names of the 6 seasons, most of you know: Vasanta Ritu, Varsha Ritu, Sharad Ritu, Hemanta Ritu, Shishira Ritu, and Grishma Ritu. One season lasts for 2 months. So for all Vaidika purposes, even now, we follow this system, which is unlike the Western system where they've got only 4 seasons. So we have got Vasanta Ritu, which is sort of equivalent to spring, Grishma, summer, then Varsha, which is a rainy season, then Sharad Ritu, the autumn, Hemant Ritu, the pre-winter, and Shishira Ritu, which is winter. And Krishna says, among all those seasons, 6 seasons, I am Vasanta Ritu. Because that is the season when all the flowers, plants, and all blossom, Beautiful time. In fact, in Delhi, that is the season when the Rashtrapati Bhavan, that, what is that called? Flower garden or something. It is thrown open to public. It's very beautiful to see. So many different types of flowers, all fresh flowers, they've got this. They allow the public to visit Rashtrapati Bhavan to see that flowers. Vasanta Ritu. So because of all the flowers, they blossom during the spring season, generally the people moods are, they're all in a happy mood. It's a most pleasant season also. But here Krishna does not use the word Vasanta Ritu. Instead, he says Kusuma Akaraha. Again, a beautiful name, Kusuma Akaraha, beautiful name for spring season. Akara means abundance, storehouse, rich. Kusuma means flower. So Kusuma naam Akara, Kusuma Karaha. It is the season which has abundance of flowers. In fact, this sloka, according to me, probably many others also, has inspired one of the poet, and also he is a lyricist. I mean, he has written a lot of beautiful songs for Tamil movies called Kannadasan. He has taken this idea and he has composed one song. It's a romantic song where the hero is describing the heroine, his beloved. And he says, among the seasons, she is the Vasanta season. Kalangalil aval Vasantam. So among the seasons, she is the spring season. Then he also says,
கலைகளிலே அவள் ஓவியம்.
மாதங்களில் அவள் மார்கழி. Among the months, she is Mrigashirsha month. What else you said, Ramuji?
கலைகளிலே அவள் ஒரு ஓவியம்.
That is not said in this sloka.
Okay, but I'm just
Yeah. No, that's it. Malargalile aval malligai and all that, but that is not here. But these two ideas, which is the glory, Krishna talks about his own glory, and here the hero is talking of the glory of his beloved. I think taking these ideas from this sloka only. Okay. So, anyway, this is all just aside. Here we have to focus on Krishna narrating his glory as among the seasons by saying, Rutunam Kusumakaraha Aham. Now the next set of glories, shloka number 36. All of you can unmute. Dhyutam chalayatam asmi.
द्यूतं
चलयतामस्मि
अस्मि
Tejas
तेजस्तेजस्विनामहम्
Jayosmi Vyavasayosmi
जयोस्मि
व्यवसायोऽस्मि
Sattvam Sattvatamaham.
सत्त्वं सत्त्वमहम्
सत्त्वमहम्
Good. So you can mute. The Anvaya is Asmi Dhyutam Chalayatam. Aham Tejah Tejasvinam. Asmi Jayah Asmi Vyavasayah. Aham Sattvam Sattvavatam. So Asmi Dhyutam, I am gambling. Chalayatam, among all the deceivers, deceitful practices. Aham Tejah, I am the brilliance. Tejasvinam, of the brilliant. Asmi Jayah, I am victory. Asmi Vyavasayah, I am the effort. Aham Sattvam, I am the virtue. Sattvavatam, of the virtuous. Different types of ideas all put together in one sloka. So he says, I am gambling among all deceitful practices. I am the brilliance of the brilliant. I am the effort. I am the virtue of the virtuous. So chalayatam means among those activities which will rob our discriminative power, which will take a human being for a ride. Among those activities, he says, I am the gambling activity. Because all forms of gambling certainly will take a human being for a ride. Because once a person enters into that, it becomes an addiction like alcohol or drug, He'll become totally addicted to that. And like any other addiction, gambling, like card games, horse racing, any dice game, all come under gambling. Even if you say, no, I am playing just for fun, not having any stakes, because gambling means you have to have stakes, So then somebody will say, no, I am doing that. But that is also one should be careful to avoid, because that is how it starts. You first do all just for fun, so many things, many children also start smoking for fun. It becomes a habit. It becomes an addiction. Then they are not able to get out of it. So, like that, gambling is one of the common and worst addictions. I have seen, many people, horse racing, finished people, they become so addicted that all their wealth, their savings, everything, they will lose in this gambling. So, it is said, Kali Devata is the presiding Devata of Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga personifies the age of discord, vice and hypocrisy. And this Kali Devata emerged after Lord Krishna's departure in Dwapara Yuga. The story goes that when King Parikshit, he was traveling in his kingdom, he found this Kali beating a cow, a symbol of earth, and a bull, symbol of dharma. And he was about to kill Kali when Kali surrendered and begged him for a place to reside. And Parikshit said, "You tell the names, and then I will give you the permission where you can reside." So Parikshit allowed Kali to live in 5 places associated with sin. Which are they? Gambling, drinking, prostitution, animal slaughter, and gold. And Kali is described as a force that corrupts human consciousness, thriving on immortality, greed, and decline of dharma. All that, not just merely stories in Puranas. We are actually witnessing all those things happening right around us. And it is only beginning of Kali. Kali is 4,32,000 years. And it is only because in the Prathama Pada we are there, 5,000 odd years have been completed. The condition is that even now, in the beginning itself, you can imagine what is going to happen as we go forward. That is why Vedanta becomes very important. That's why I say that get into Vedanta, become a mumukshu, do Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, gain the knowledge, self-knowledge, abide in that knowledge and get moksha. No more rebirth. Because if you are going to be reborn in this Kali Yuga, then you will be suffering worse than what you are suffering now. So Kali Devata means that Devata which will take a person towards spiritual downfall. And if a human goes to such places, he will be sucked by or pulled down by Kali Devata, who will induce him to quarrel, fight, shout, drink, etc. So here Krishna says, even in the matter of evil and cheating, I am that Dutam gambling. So here we have to understand, many people will say, oh, what is this? Krishna says gambling is one of his glories. In fact, we will see in the next chapter. When we say Ishvara is everything, it includes negatives also. We just cannot be choosy, only take positives. It negatives also. In fact, by you adding this, Krishna is preparing us for the next chapter, where both positives and negatives, and in fact the negatives are so gory negatives, he will tell about himself. And in fact, in the entire Mahabharata, one important lesson to be learned is, if we are not very careful, gambling or such activities can pull us down. And the example is given, Dharmaputra. In fact, he was an embodiment of Dharma. And even that Dharmaputra got hooked to that. And consequently, he lost all the sense of propriety. Lost even his wife and his brothers. Gambling with keeping wife and brothers as stake is unimaginable even in today's times. And he did this in the previous Dwapara Yuga. Just imagine what a fall from his dharma. As an embodiment of dharma, we cannot say he did not know the Dharma Shastra. But he lost his sense of discrimination. If Dharmaputra can lose his balance, what to talk of the ordinary people? And that's why, in the Orthodox families, even today, children are not allowed to touch the playing cards even for fun. Because as I said, what begins as fun could end up as gambling, which we are now witnessing all over. People who call themselves Brahmins also indulge in gambling, especially after retirement. It's a very popular post-lunch pastime. So I think I will stop here because so many things I can say about how people have got hooked on to this. There's a sad state of affairs. Again, all we can say is all Kaliyuga Lakshanam. That's all. Anyway, Krishna himself wants Dyutam Aham Asmi, among the deceiving activities, pulling down activities, taking for a ride activity, addicting activities. I am the gambling principle. Literally, the word Dyutam means dices, and here means it represents any form of gambling. So we can take this as a warning that be careful. You will think that you are one of my glories, but actually it is a negative glory. So try to avoid it. Then he says, Tejas Tejas Vinamaham. I am the brilliance, the internal brilliance, the intelligence among all the intelligent or brilliant people. Perhaps we can define the brilliance as that by which a person resists the temptation for Dyutam, gambling. Because in all of them, first time saying no is much easier. Whether it is alcohol, whether it is smoking, whether it is drugs, or whether it is gambling, saying no for the first time is very easy. But if one succumbs the first time, then the downslide is very powerful and cannot be arrested. It will be very difficult to get out of that, and therefore Krishna says, I am that brilliant discrimination which resists such a temptation. Then Jayosmi, Vyavasayosmi, Sattvam, Sattvatamaham. I am the Sattva Guna in Sattvic people, which represents spiritual inclination. Rajoguna represents materialistic inclination. Arthakama inclination is caused by Rajoguna. Dharma Moksha inclination is caused by Sattva Guna. And Tamo Guna obstructs our inclination to both of them. Tamo Guna makes a person lazy, neither materialistic inclination nor spiritual inclination. And the general advice of the scriptures is, basically we are all born as tamasic guna pradhana only. That's why a small child keeps on sleeping, only thinks, not interested in anything. Eat, sleep, that's it. So the Shastras advise that a tamasic person should initially cultivate Rajoguna, a materialistic desire. And then gradually refine the materialistic desire to spiritual desire. And that spiritual desire is represented by Sattva Guna. And once there is spiritual inclination, it expresses in the form of Vyavasaya. Vyavasaya means the effort required for the fulfillment of spiritual desire. Just as effort is required for the fulfillment of materialistic desires, equal or more effort is required for fulfillment of spiritual desires, like doing Panchamahayajna. All noble activities for Chitta Shuddhi require special effort. So here the word Vyavasaya means prayatna, effort, industry, perseverance. And industry, as you know, is a character of a person, of the mind. We use the expression, is an industrious person. So that perseverance or effort is called vyavasaya. And once that there is vyavasaya or spiritual effort, what will it lead to? Jayosmi. That we will see in the next class. Okay. Stop here. Taken 1 minute extra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. धन्यवाद है everyone.
धन्यवाद.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaste. Very
Namaste,
nice
thank
knowing
you.
about knowing so much about Gayatri Mantra and other things. Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari
Thank you,
Om.
Guruji.
Thank
Hari
you.
Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Yes, Ramuji.
So one, two, three important points,
Yeah,
especially when regarding the Gayatri, you talked about so much. And even very few people who chant the Gayatri, they don't chant it properly.
correct.
And especially they're chanting in such a way that they say to Gayatri Devi that I don't want brilliance. In the meaning,
Yeah. Well, yeah, Naha Prachodayat, they say
Ah.
Na Prachodayat. Yeah,
that point I want to stress.
yeah. That
That's
is
why
true.
I have this thing. Second thing about Dharmaputra's character playing for this thing. That is because Swami Parasarthi characterizes people into two groups, main two groups as aggressive and passive. And in that also, passive good and aggressive, passive bad, and aggressive good and aggressive bad.
Hmm.
And in that, Dharmaputra was in the passive good,
Hmm.
but Duryodhana was in the
Aggressive bad.
aggressive bad.
Yeah,
So that is there. And Krishna was aggressive good, and Shaguni was aggressive bad.
yeah,
So in that's why they could overrule this. Aggressive people always rules over the passive people.
correct.
That's why even though very few people are there in the world who are very bad, they rule over the world. We have to suffer the consequences of their aggressiveness.
Correct.
So
No, there is one more explanation given because that time Dharmaputra was a king.
yeah,
And it is said that a king, when he is invited for gambling, he cannot refuse. That is
Yeah.
the Raja Dharma Shastra.
yeah, that is there. That point
Which
is there.
these people knew, and that is why he had to oblige, even though he knew the downsides, he had to oblige.
Yeah,
That
I
reason
agree.
is also
That
given.
I agree. But he could have told that I would ask my proxy, Mr. Krishna, to play.
Yeah. That is what Krishna himself
that-
says. He could have asked me to play, I would have done it.
Yeah, that's what your Krishna tells. That point is there.
Correct.
That
That point
the
is
right
there.
counsel was not there for him, and he played himself because he has a weakness for playing.
Exactly.
That's the thing. That's the point.
That's a good point. That's a point.
And today only in the morning, I read the news about three sisters
Yes.
jumping down from
Korean
the eighth floor
business.
because of a Korea game.
Yeah.
That's
That's
Dutam.
Yeah, abuse of the. But what to do? I mean, these are all we are seeing more and more of this kind of things happening. So that all these games are also nothing but addiction only. Whether
That another reference is that last week we talked about the fall of the Kanduka.
yes,
That comes that faster with the rubber ball, it falls fast. We fall like anything.
correct.
That's a point. Thank you.
Okay, Hari Om. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? No hands are going up, so I think we can close the session. Hari Om. See you next week.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om.